Hello everyone, my name's Chris. I'm a designer at Thoughtworks. My talk today on the agenda is accessible data in Formula One. So why does the screen say make a difference? Very, very good question. Let's go and find out. I'd like to kind of get an idea of the people in the room. So who in here, put your hands up if you're involved in creating digital products. Pretty much everyone, that's really good. How many of you are involved in making products that make a real difference to people's lives? Not just about money, about actually making a difference to people? Right, that's roughly about half. How many of you actually do something that you're really passionate about? Making things that you love the thing you're making. So about half again. That's really good. What about Formula One? Hands up if you're into Formula One. It's about a third. A little bit disappointing. Well, I'm into Formula One. I absolutely love it. I love the technology. I love the innovation. I love the strategy behind the racing. I love really good racing as well. And I like to make a difference to people as well. Back in June, I came across this competition.
Hello, I'm Martin Rundle. Technology, data and connectivity are the lifeblood of Formula One. As the official connectivity provider to Formula One, Tata Communications is launching an initiative to embrace international brainpower in the quest to solve technical and design challenges that will foster and reward innovative and creative thinking. Welcome then to the F1 Connectivity Innovation Prize, a groundbreaking new initiative that will see the grand winner awarded a cheque for $50,000. with runners-up receiving VIP trips to the 2015 Formula One Monaco Grand Prix. Judging the competition are Formula One World Championship winner Lewis Hamilton, Paddy Lowe, the Technical Director, Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team, Formula One Management's Chief Technology Officer John Morrison, Tata Communications Managing Director of F1 Business Mehul Kapadia, and me. The first challenge will be officially launched in the run-up to the 2014 Formula One Santander British Grand Prix and will involve a design evolution of the sport's display of live data provided by Formula One management. To register yourself for the challenges, visit www.tatacommunications.com/F1 Prize and follow us on Twitter @Tata_com. Good luck, and perhaps I'll see you next year at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Pretty cool. If you're into Formula One and making digital products, that's my kind of competition. I want to talk today about my entry into this competition, how I made a real difference to a new and untapped audience for Formula One. Before we jump into the challenge, I want to give you a bit of background about the kind of work that I love doing. Back in 2009, I created the first peer-to-peer payments app in the UK. The first time people were able to send money to each other using their mobile devices only. Didn't really take off, but it was the first in the UK anyway. I also reinvented banking for children, enabling them to save, earn and learn about money, to create the next generation of financially empowered bank customers. Again, this is brewing at the moment. Will take off one day. Now this one, I persuaded the Middle East, people in the Middle East, to choose healthier choices. So thanks to me, at the moment, today in the Middle East, there's a few thousand people eating mango and sharing that socially. This is spreading like wildfire in the Middle East. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this. So I created one of the leading developer tools on the Google Chrome web store. I've got over 100,000 active users globally. That's amongst designers and developers. A few of you may well have used this. Certainly working at Thoughtworks, I discovered most of the team that I work with at Thoughtworks use this, and they didn't realize I did it until I'd heard them complaining about it. Anything I do, I try and use technology to make a real difference to people's lives. Thinking about the actual people behind this. It's not about technology for me, it's about people and their lives, their needs, and what they can get out of the use of technology. So back to the competition. Just before the British Grand Prix in July, the first challenge was set. I'll let Lewis Hamilton explain.
I still remember the first time I saw my name at the top of the Formula 1 live data screen. It was such a surreal moment and just a crazy rush. When you're waiting to head out to qualifying and it's placed in front of you, you know serious business is about to begin. In the first of 3 challenges, we want to know how you would present the live race data produced by Formula 1 management.
In Formula 1, data is everything, and it's vital for drivers and race engineers to be able to understand it clearly. The live data screen is highly complex, purposeful, and powerful in its ability to deliver multiple data requirements in real time. But how would you present the live race data produced by Formula 1 management? Get this right and you could be on the way to claiming the first prize of $50,000.
For more details, visit www.tatacommunications.com/F1 prize or follow us on Twitter at @Tata_com. Good luck, and maybe I'll see you at the next year's 2015 Formula 1 Monaco Grand Prix.
Pretty cool challenge, yeah? Or is it? Can anyone tell me what's wrong with the challenge? Anyone?
There's no requirements.
There's no requirements. Yeah? Anyone else? What about the user? Was there any mention in that video about who this was for? Absolutely none. I've got no idea who they want to do something for. So no idea what their needs are, no ideas what the opportunities are, no ideas what at all we can do. What's the problem we're solving? So Lewis and David have both just told us how amazing this timing screen is, how powerful it is and how great it is and how it's been around for so many years. They didn't mention anything about what it doesn't do, where it goes wrong, or where it's missing things. I've no idea what problem I'm actually solving. What does good look like? How are they measuring this? How are they going to decide who's the winner and who's not the winner? There's no indication there of any kind of metrics or any kind of measure at all on how they'll decide the winner. So how do you win? I don't know. It's way too open. It's say no requirements. There's nothing. It's just so open. If I was to walk in tomorrow and this was my day job, I'd be worried. I wouldn't have a clue where to start. So in that case, I need to kind of create my own project. I need to figure out where the opportunities are myself. I need to go and do a lot more research. So this is the Formula 1 timing screen. Can anyone have a guess what year this was created in? 19, close. Very close. This has been around since the early 1980s, and it hasn't really changed much at all, other than the sponsor logo at the bottom. It was initially just for the teams and the track personnel at the actual venue during the race. And over time, it's become available to the Formula 1 teams in a data format and to the broadcasters. And then eventually, it's made its way into the Formula 1 website and the Formula 1 app, so people around the world can actually get this information without having to be there. Let me quickly explain how it works. Can anyone tell me where this is? Silverstone, yeah. So around Silverstone, there are 3 lines, here, here, and here. Every time a car passes a line, it registers its time since it passed the previous line. These are called the sectors of the track. The timing data collects those sector times, adds them together to create the actual lap time. You can see it displayed here. These 3 columns here are the 3 sector times of each car. It also heavily relies on colour. So yellow is a driver's latest time. If it shows up green, the driver's going faster than he's been before. If it shows up purple, which none of these guys are actually doing, it's the fastest that anyone's actually gone. So you can get an idea of who's going quickly and who's not. There's also two other sheets behind this. There's one sheet that tells you about the number of cars that are on the track, fastest lap details, what the weather conditions are like, how hot the track is, and more information about things like which race is it? Is it a qualifying session? Is it a practice? Or is it the actual race itself? And this wouldn't be Thoughtworks without the code. This is what it looks like under the hood. Now I want to go and start looking at the users. So one of the most obvious users to me are the teams themselves. Now, the timing data is the only official source of data that is shared equally amongst all the teams. The teams have developed lots of applications on top of this data, so they can work out their strategies during the race. For instance, they can accurately calculate, without using GPS, where each car is on the track, just by working out the time difference and the sector times. So they can plot easily all the cars on the track, and they use that to choose when to take a pit stop. So they want to choose the right time, take a pit stop, so that when they come back out of the pits with a new set of tyres, they're in a big enough gap where they can make an actual difference to their race time with that new set of tyres. Another user is the fans at the track itself, the fans in the grandstand. So they get this data in things like this timing tower, which shows the positions of the drivers in the race. They also get to experience it through large screen TVs on the TV graphics. They can also hire something called a kangaroo. A kangaroo is a handheld device that you hire at the track and gives you a feed of the timing data while you're at the venue. So what about the user at home? So data drives most of the TV graphics you see when you're watching Formula One on the television. From the positions of the race, the times between the drivers, all that information is driven purely through the timing data. The commentary teams also use the data to pick up interesting stories. You'll often hear them try to second guess the strategies of the race by trying to interpret the timing data themselves. And the fans at home can also experience the data on the Formula One app and website, as you can see here. So as we can see from this, the users are actually really well served by the timing data. I'm not seeing many opportunities. So how can we find someone that's a little bit different? Someone that we can make a real difference for? What if you're blind? What if you can't see the data? How can you understand and enjoy the data behind Formula One if you cannot see it? A completely uncatered for audience. According to the Royal National Institute for Blind People, there's almost 2 million people living with sight loss in the UK alone. That's approximately 1 person in every 30, and it's likely to double by the year 2050. Almost half of these people feel moderately or completely cut off from people and things around them. Now, Formula One has 500 million TV viewers alone. It's a truly global sport. Therefore, there must be a significant audience of visually impaired people out there wanting to engage in new and different ways with Formula One. So how do we make a difference? What if we could deliver the timing data in an accessible format for blind people to enjoy? Can we turn the raw timing data into humanized sentences and phrases, creating data stories, ones that can be delivered in a format to engage with a visually impaired audience, for instance, through voiceovers, screen readers? Can we take a feed of the timing data? Can we store that for future comparison? The timing data itself is live. It changes all the time, but you never get a historical view. So we need to store that data. And then we can process it to spot any significant changes where a gap has changed, someone's going faster than he was last lap. And we could publish that data using some predefined templates to create these sentences and phrases. And the published events could feed our own feed of data stories. We could take an event, for instance, the safety car. So if the safety car comes out on track, that's a significant event. We can add any data to support that event. For instance, what lap has the safety car come out on? And we can add some metadata behind that to enable us to sort, filter, search it, and to know how we can actually deal with that story. So here we've got two examples. So here's an event, the safety car is on standby, with some metadata to help us explain when this happened, what race it was, and to give us an idea of the kind of importance of the information. Here's another example here where we've got our event, the race has been red flagged, and then we have some supporting data to say what lap was the race red flagged on. So you can see how we can build up these stories and explain different parts of what's happening on track. We could also take a driver-based story. So we'll take a driver. We can add to that an event. For instance, the driver's overtaken another driver. Of course, then we want to know, okay, who's the other driver involved? Who's been overtaken? And we might add to that some supporting data. For instance, what lap that's happened, what part of the track. And again, we add our metadata so we can decide how important is that. Maybe one story type is more important than another story type. We can tell the stories to explain things that are happening in the race. Rather than show you, I want you to experience this as a blind person. So I'm going to cue my cheap prototype. I'd like you all to close your eyes and imagine you're blind. On lap 47 of the British Grand Prix this year, Nico Rosberg was comfortably in the lead. Lewis Hamilton was a long way behind in second place. The timing data showed the following events, while the TV cameras and the commentators were focused on the wrong drivers battling for the lower positions in the grid.
Hamilton is catching Rosberg. He is now within the DRS zone. Rosberg has slowed on track in Sector 1. Hamilton has taken the lead from Rosberg in Sector 1. Rosberg has stopped on track in Sector 2.
Surprisingly how long it took me to work out how to get Google Translate to pronounce Rosberg's name. I don't think Murray Walker's got anything to fear at the moment. But you can see how we can put together these stories. It's a pretty simple prototype, but it demonstrates how these stories can be formed and delivered to a blind person. So you can see here our story. Here we've got our driver, Lewis Hamilton. We've got an event, so we know Lewis Hamilton is catching Rosberg because we can measure on the timing that the gap between him and Rosberg has reduced since the last time he went for a sector. We've got our additional driver, Rosberg, very unlucky at the moment. And our supporting data, so we know that if a driver catches another driver and gets within the 1 second gap, it entitles him to the DRS zone. The DRS zone, for those that are not fans of Formula One, allows Lewis Hamilton to go a little bit faster down the straights to enable him to overtake. And we've got our metadata, so it gives us some way of enabling us to sort, filter how important that information is. But what else could we do with this? What about a simple Twitter feed of all the data stories? As we publish them, let's deliver them through Twitter. Or if you've got one of these trendy new smartwatches, what about a feed on your smartwatch to give you the information that's happening while you're at the venue? Or if you're even more lucky and you've got Google Glasses, how about seeing the information behind the race as you're actually watching the race itself? Now, one thing I love doing when I create products like this is reading people's comments about my work, often quite funny ones. This one really caught my eye. So this was on James Allen, the Formula One commentator's blog. And this was on the comments left. He described my idea as robotic commentary. And I think he's actually nailed it. He's basically explained my concept in 2 words, which I think is brilliant. Now, if you've ever been to a race, you'll know most of the best action on the track happens well away from the cameras at the back of the grid, which no one else gets to enjoy. Now imagine if you had your own personal Formula One commentator sat right next to you, giving you the information and the commentary that you want to hear about the drivers and events that you want to hear about. I think robotic commentary is quite an exciting prospect for me. Hopefully you're all now thinking, I know how we could use this. There's lots of different ideas. I'm already thinking now, there's a new rule about how the team on the pits are not allowed to coach the driver in the car. So I'm thinking, can we build this into the car? Can the car coach the driver using the data? So there's lots of different ways we could use this technology, not just Formula One as well. But how can we make it even better? How can we make it truly awesome? Formula One is a very, very exclusive sport. It costs loads of money if you want to buy a ticket to a race, and even more if you want a seat. The TV coverage is now largely behind a subscription, and the timing data on the website and the app is now behind a paywall. I don't want to create just another piece of exclusive content for Formula One to license and make money out of. I want to make it open and exclusive. I want to make it accessible to all people, from blind people to those financially less well off, to those in developing countries with poor internet connections. Let's make this for everyone. Can we open source the data story service so that the technology can be used for other things? Someone in the last time I gave this talk came up with the idea we could use this in train stations to help blind people find the platform when the train operators are always moving platforms. And we could deliver the service through an open API and let people like us play with it and create awesome products and services. Massive change for Formula One and their licensing model, but I think it would make a huge difference to the fan and the various different services and products that they could get from the back of it. And an even better opportunity for people like us that create digital products to get involved with this sport and create our own products on the back of it. At the beginning of the talk, you saw the words "make a difference" on the screen. Before I finish, I just want to leave you with a few thoughts on how you could make a real difference. So walk in your user's shoes. If you try and understand the world and the problems of your users, it really helps you to empathize with them and understand how you can make a difference to them. So in the challenge, we experienced what it was like to be blind. Probably not as well as actually being blind, but we gave it a try. And you start to really empathize with the user and their world. And that's when it triggers ideas. You know, how can we actually deliver a solution to that person? Make a real difference to people. So focus on the human being on the other side of the technology. Because without the user, without the real person, technology is absolutely nothing. So in the challenge, by focusing on a real person with real needs that we understood, the technology simply became the enabler. Disrupt yourself. So in order to be disruptive, you need to be disruptive in yourself. So push to do something better and something different. Don't accept the way things have been done in the past, and don't be normal. Don't be Mr. Average. Push to do something better. Make it truly awesome. So in the challenge, I could have done a nice visual dashboard. That's what my history my past experience has given me. I could have easily done a really nice visual dashboard, and I believe they received thousands of really nice visual dashboards. But I didn't do a nice visual dashboard. I did something a little bit different. I challenged them and I challenged myself, and I won. If you want more details about the challenge, there's one more round left if you want to have a go at entering. If you visit the website, it opens on the 29th of October and runs for about 2 weeks. If you think this is a really cool idea and you'd like to see it built, tweet at these guys, tell them how amazing it is. And if you want to give any feedback on the talk, there's our Amy, the Twitter handle.
Yes.
And if you want to discuss more about how we integrate design and product strategy into agile software delivery, then come and vote for the Agile UX Open Talk at the end of this. And that's it. Thank you very much. So you can read more about this on my blog, or you can follow me on Twitter.